Hey everybody, it's GombletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we'll be playing another quick draft of Innistrad Crimson Vow. Without further ado, let's just get into it and scoop up our Bomb Mythic Rare Toxrill. This slug is going to slime up all of our opponent's creatures and give them -1/-1 for each slime counter on them. So it's going to take over the board really quickly. Your opponent needs to remove this pretty much instantaneously or it will win you the game super quickly. So pretty clearly the pick here. We'd love to wheel any of these black cards to follow it up, obviously. Also love to wheel the Foreboding Statue as a great way to mana ramp into a Bomb 7-drop, but that's probably the least likely card to wheel since it is colorless. Basically anybody can take it. But we'll see. We'll see what the bots are doing. Maybe they'll be very kind to us today. Alright, here we are in Pack 1, Pick 2 with a bunch of solid black commons. Pointed Discussion, Grizzly Ritual, Rot-Tide Gargantua are all great. Bloodseeker's a little narrow, but it can be really powerful in the right deck where you do have a lot of life gain. Heron of Hope is probably the strongest card in the pack by a decent margin, but we're pretty much 100% committed to black because we've opened up the strongest black card in the entire set. So we should probably just take a black card because it'll 100% make the cut. Grizzly Ritual, it's possible it doesn't make the cut if we get a bunch of more efficient removal spells like Bleed Dry and Hero's Downfall that are just a lot cheaper and instant speed. So I'm kind of more interested in maybe Pointed Discussion or Rot-Tide Gargantua. I think I'll go with the Gargantua here. Very solid 5-drop creature. If we have any tokens on the board or any just expendable creatures, then we get to use this and make our opponent sack a creature as well, which is super nice. So pretty into the Gargantua. Pointed Discussion is great as well, and it's particularly good with Toxrill because it's essentially like a draw 3, discard 1 because we get that blood token off of it, so it can dig pretty far in our deck to help find particularly powerful cards like Toxrill. It's going to let us dig very far, so I like Pointed Discussion a lot, but I think the bots seem to pass it quite late, so I think I should be able to scoop up a couple copies pretty easily throughout the draft. Alright, Pack 1, Pick 3. One of the best cards in the pack is easily the Bloodcrazed Socialite, just a really massive creature at common. 4 mana, 3/3 menace. If we sack a blood token when it attacks, it's a 5/5 menace, which is gigantic. We're just going to take the Bloodcrazed Socialite here and start slamming our opponents with our semi-truck creature. Pack 1, Pick 4 now. We have some very powerful off-color cards, Lantern Bearer and Blood Tithe Harvester. Blood Tithe Harvester, the strongest card in the pack, just a 2 mana 3/2 with major upside. You can sacrifice it as a removal spell, you get a blood token off of it. Very ridiculously good card. But then there's also Diagraph Scavenger on color. It's definitely weaker than Blood Tithe Harvester, but pretty equivalent with Lantern Bearer. Just does a lot in this format where there is graveyard recursion to be able to exile an opposing threat, drain your opponent for a couple life, and have a nice Death Toucher on board. So I like Scavenger a lot, and we can play it really safe here and just stick to mono black for now, so I think that's what I'll do. Harvester is the pick with the highest potential upside, but Diagraph Scavenger is just another card that is 100% going into this deck no matter what. Alright, we get to stay nice and safe. Pack 1, Pick 5. Undead Butler is a pretty solid value play. Mill yourself 3, then when it dies, returns a creature from your grave to your hand. So even if we mill that Toxrill, we can just get it right back later. Undead Butler, yeah, great little value creature on 2, perfectly happy with it. Probably the strongest card in the pack, but Epicure's pretty good, Wolf Strike's pretty good, but Butler, super good as well, and sticks to just black for now. Alright, now we can go ahead and take one of those Pointed Discussions to dig deep for that Toxrill. Seems pretty good to me. Ragged Recluse is also fine, plays really well if we have a lot of blood tokens, can turn into a nice kind of life-stealing 3/3. But I'm going to take the Pointed Discussion first. I think that looks great in a deck with Toxrill. Both of those cards should relatively go pretty late. Pick 7, we have Sporeback Wolf and Impulse being fine, but I'm just going to take Blood Fountain again. Maybe we can be completely mono black by the end of the draft. That'd be pretty cool. A Pick 8 Foreboding Statue? Well, that's very exciting because that's going to be really good at ramping us into the Toxrill, and it's going to fit into the deck no matter what colors we play. Incredibly happy to take that. There's also a Traveling Minister in white, which is one of white's best commons. It's a great cheap creature that keeps gaining you life and letting your smaller creatures attack into higher toughness cards later in the game. And the Flourishing Hunter is a great way to stabilize in green decks, giving you a bunch of life gain and a 6/6. But Statue's excellent too. This is just a really high quality pack for Pick 8. Alright, pick 9. We did not wheel the Foreboding statue, but we got a different one, so that's okay. And we did wheel the Bloodcrazed Socialite, which is an incredible card anyway, and the best card in the pack. Easy pick. Pack 1, pick 10, we're starting to get to the filler cards. We have Binding Geist versus Belligerent Guest. I think Belligerent Guest would work better for us if we can end up in red-black vampires. It's going to be an archetype that gives us a lot of blood tokens as well to dig through our deck, again, for incredibly powerful cards like Toxrill. So we'll take the Belligerent Guest here. Alright, this is all incredibly filler stuff. I'm not going to play the Ceremonial Knife, it's pretty inefficient. But theoretically it gives us a lot of blood tokens to use. I'll just take like a Dawnheart Disciple. It's probably not getting played. More filler nonsense in case we get pushed into any of these other colors. And we'll see what we open up for pack 2. Alright, well, we've opened up a Bleed Dry on color. Excellent instant speed removal that also exiles, so no graveyard recursion can be used on whatever you're killing. That's easily the pick for us. If we weren't just trying to be as close to mono black as possible, there's like Flame Blast Bolt is fine, but I think Bleed Dry is just as good, and it's on color. And that's about it. Like Weaver Blossom's nice ramp, but mostly this pack is just excellent removal spells. Pack 2, pick 2, we've got a nice slow Grizzly Ritual, or a Gift of Fangs, if we want to take an on-color card. I think those are weak enough to speculate off color here. We have Sigarda's Imprisonment for 3 mana removal, and Biolume Egg for the blue-black exploit deck. We do at least have a Rot-Tide Gargantua as one exploit card to work with the egg, and this is just really good in that archetype because you have a ton of cards that are going to get value from sacrificing a creature. So now, not only are you upgrading the Biolume Serpent when you sacrifice it, but you're also getting that exploit value. So I like the egg a lot here to speculate towards blue-black if we get some good exploit cards. Alright, here's a Mind Leech Ghoul, which is a solid exploit card, and there's not too much else going on in the pack. There's Kindly Ancestor, which is pretty good. Cruel Witness is pretty solid. Catapult Fodder's fine, but I don't know if we're going to have enough high toughness creatures to really do it in our current deck. I guess we could check. We have an Undead Butler that would work with it. We have a Foreboding Statue that would work with it. We have a Diagraph Scavenger that works with it. That's it. We've got 3 cards with higher toughness than power. It's a 3 mana 1/5 at worst, which isn't great, but it is very good when you flip it. And it does count itself, so if we have fodder on board with an Undead Butler and a Scavenger or something, it'll work. That could be fun to draft around. We should probably just take Mind Leech Ghoul, but Catapult Fodder seems pretty fun to me. I guess the Biolume Egg works too if we end up in blue-black instead of just mono-black. Alright, pack 2, pick 4. There's pretty much nothing in black here, so we'll probably take a solid blue card. Scattered Thoughts is another great way to dig for our Toxrill, similar to our Pointed Discussion. Great instant speed card draw. Now another Bloodcrazed Socialite, easily the pick. Ridiculous card, best card in the pack. Join us, Bloodcrazed Socialite copy number 3. Alright, Rot-Tide Gargantua copy number 2. Taking it over Fierce Retribution. Maybe I should just be like white-black decent removal, but Gargantua is a super decent card. That's just on color for the main color. Another Pointed Discussion. There's also another Blood Tithe Harvester if we'd taken that earlier. Definitely be running that. There's also Doomed Dissenter though, which is really good with 2 copies of Rot-Tide Gargantua. With any exploit cards, this helps a lot. It gives me another 2-drop creature, of which I have 1 for the mono-black deck. I mean, I guess if I go black-red, then the Harvester is also a 2-mana creature. The Harvester works really well with the Bloodcrazed Socialite and stuff. We get another filler removal spell with Lacerate Flesh if we're in red. Could see taking Harvester, committing to black-red here, or just taking Doom Dissenter. I think I need to take a 2-mana creature either way. Let's go black-red, take the Blood Tithe Harvester, get to play this Lacerate Flesh, because we're pretty low on removal. We just have Bleed Dry and the Lacerate. And Harvester works as another early game removal spell too. Well, nothing good in red here, so I'll take that Fierce Retribution. We keep seeing a lot of those. Nothing good in black or red again. Actually, nothing good in any color, honestly. Guess I'll just take a Bloody Betrayal. Probably not playing. Theoretically, if I have a million mana, I can Bloody Betrayal and then play one of my exploit creatures and sacrifice the creature I stole. That costs a lot of mana. Alright, a super filler pack again. Take another Bloody Betrayal. Alright, Mind Leech Ghoul Wield. We're very happy to see it. Get another 2-drop creature into the deck that works very well with Undead Butler and the Bloody Betrayal. This is one of the cheapest ways to sacrifice an opposing creature to a Bloody Betrayal. And let's see what we open up in pack 3. Alright, pack 3, we've opened up a decent blue rare, but there's also just an excellent black removal spell. We'll just take another Bleed Dry pretty easily there. Pack 3, pick 2. I want more 2-drop creatures, and we've got a good amount of blood token production for the Ragged Recluse. If we sack a blood to discard a card and draw a card, turned into that very good Odious Witch. So we'll take the Ragged Recluse here. Now we'll take a Grisly Ritual, some filler later game removal. Another point of discussion, but now that we're in red, Falconwrath Celebrants is a great 5-drop creature. I feel like I have a lot of good 5-drops. Yeah, just 2. 2 Gargantuas. Sure, I'll play Celebrants as well. Nothing in here for black or red, unfortunately. But that's okay, we've got a 23-card deck right now. I guess I need to find something to replace these Blood Servitors mainly. And then we'll have a great deck. The Servitors are the most filler card in the whole deck. I guess Phalanx works with Catapult Fodder. That could be pretty fun. I'm going to have a hard time justifying running that over these other 5-drops though. But I don't think Dread Fugue's any good. Let me see. That doesn't seem great. Yeah, pretty bad discard spell. We'll just pick up a Phalanx I'm probably not playing. Alright, I do need some filler creatures in here that are a little better than Blood Servitors, and I think Archghoul of Thraben fills that role. We don't have a lot of zombies in here, but still, 3 mana, 3/2. When it dies, we get to Surveil one. Very filler, but I think it's probably better than Blood Servitor. Wedding Invitation's also fine, but I've got a lot of non-creatures here. I think I need to up the creature count. Well, we are at 17 creatures. Wedding Invitation is better than Archghoul for this deck, because we do just cycle it to draw a card, and then later in the game we can make a vampire unblockable and get a bunch of life off of it. We can make anything unblockable, but if we choose a vampire, we give it unblockable and lifelink, which is a huge swing in life totals, which is nice. I think Invitation in a vacuum is better than the Archghoul. But I do like my non-creatures quite a bit. I think I have more room to just upgrade a Servitor into an Archghoul than upgrade one of these into a Wedding Invitation. Alright, nothing will play. I'll just take an uncommon. Nothing will play. Take an Evolving Wilds. I guess we could use an Evolving Wilds in here. We have some double black cards like Bleed Dry, Gargantua, Toxrill. But I'm low enough on red cards, right, that I just run like 10 Swamps, 7 Mountains, and be nice and easy mana. There's nothing else I'm going to play though, so I guess might as well take the Evolving Wilds. Another Grisly Ritual, we could run that. Sure Strike, probably not going to play that. More filler nonsense. And let's build ourselves a Toxrill deck, I think. Yeah, let's build the deck. Alright, well I did say let's build a deck, but we dirtled around long enough between what we wanted our second color to be that we kind of just already have 40 cards in the deck after cutting some nonsense there. Before I even went into deck building, just cutting stuff during the draft. So this is already just a 40 card, 17 land deck, which I think is what we want. Because we're trying to hit that 7 mana Toxrill, some 6 mana removal, but we still have a stack of 2s and 3s, which is nice. Got some blood tokens to discard non-lands to try to find lands, or discard lands to try to find non-lands. Yeah, looks nice and consistent. There's some subpar stuff in here like Catapult Fodder and stuff, but it's not worth anything in our sideboard. The only stuff is like 2 Servitors. So we'll roll with the deck as is. Alright, here's a look at the final deck we're going to be playing today. We grabbed a pick 1 pack 1 Toxrill and held on for dear life, so we have a bunch of premium black cards like 2 Bleed Dries, 3 Blood Crazed Socialites, Diagraph Scavenger, Undead Butler's pretty great. Just a really solid kind of mono black base to the deck. We even have Foreboding Statue to try to ramp into the Toxrill, and a little red splash for some other just solid, basically blood token support, so we have more ways to dig through our library and try to hit that Toxrill. Blood Tithe Harvester being a removal spell and a blood token and a creature all in one. Belligerent Guest potentially getting us some blood tokens. Celebrants definitely getting some blood tokens. And Lacerate Flesh being removal plus blood tokens. Again, this deck is chocked full of blood tokens. We have 2 Grisly Ritual, Lacerate Flesh, Point of Discussion, Blood Fountain, Blood Tithe Harvester, Belligerent Guest, 3 Socialite, 1 Celebrants. So we have tons and tons and tons of ways to be discarding mediocre cards and digging through our library, just kind of speed running all the way to Toxrill as quick as we can, trying to win off of that. But even if we don't hit Toxrill, we can just curve out and play some decent removal spells. Just play a 2-drop creature, 3-drop creature into a Bloodcrazed Socialite, and a 4-mana creature that can attack as a 5/5 menace can end the game real quickly, even without any bombs. So we've got other ways to win the game, and the deck looks pretty powerful overall. I'm very excited to see how it does as we head into the gameplay. Alright, here we are on the play for game 1. We've got the Toxrill in hand and some blood tokens to try to discard some mediocre non-land cards to hit more lands. So we will definitely keep the hand. We've even got a 2-drop creature, so the hand isn't particularly slow or anything. And we have the blood token to flip the Recluse, which is great. So very excited about this hand. We'll see how it plays out for us. Hopefully it'll work pretty well. Opponent's going to start things off with a Perish Blade Trainee. Can't attack with that until I discard a card, draw a card to flip the Recluse into the Witch. Tempted to just do that right now, but I should probably just Point of Discussion, draw a couple extra cards, try to hit the land drops here, go up in card advantage. Honestly, I'm going to offer the trade for the Trainee, actually, because I think we have a strong enough late game here that we should just be trading off creatures in the early game to try to prolong the game as much as possible. Oh, our opponent's stuck on 2 mana there. Now we get to play Foreboding Statue over Socialite, and then discard Grisly Ritual to draw a card. Again, just trying to ramp into Toxrill here, but I could have just played Socialite and just been beating down here. We'll do next turn, most likely. Alright. 6 out of 7 mana if they don't kill the Foreboding Statue. Oh wow, now I have the mana to play Socialite plus Harvester. Get my counter on the Foreboding Statue. Even if we're not resolving a Toxrill, our opponent has just been stuck on mana so long. We're just beating down with these. Yeah, they're just going to scoop them up. Not much of a game to start it off. But I did like the performance of the deck there. We got a bunch of blood tokens, drew a bunch of extra cards. That's what we want to be doing in future games. So kind of just goldfish our first game, get a little bit of practice in there, see how it works out. And see if we run into some more competition in a future round. Maybe our opponent can hit some land drops next game. Alright, here we are in game 2. This is definitely a keep. We have the Blood Fountain to get the blood token for the Recluse. Double Socialite. There's no red source in here, but we have a lot of blood tokens to dig. So if we keep hitting more swamps, we can discard those swamps trying to find mountains or evolving wilds. And of course, we've got the Blood Fountain on the board for later in the game to return 2 Socialites back to our hand, which is huge value later. Oh my god, triple Socialite in hand? With triple Socialite in hand, I might discard 1 over a swamp, because I do definitely want a 4th mana next turn to play some of these, and I can just Blood Fountain 2 back later. Yeah, I need to use this right now to flip the Recluse, but I think I'm actually discarding Socialite here instead of a swamp. Pass, flip the Recluse into the Odious Witch. And a Hungry Ridgewolf from our opponent, so they've got a 2/4 and a 3/2 trample. The wolf is just a 2/2 during our turn, though. I'll trade the Witch for the Ridgewolf, that's fine. Just drop a Socialite. Trade is going to occur, and here is a nice big Socialite. Nice large menacing threat. 4 mana up for our opponent now. They probably have a solid 4-drop to play. Not going to block, I'll play around a combat trick here. Yep, a Weary Prisoner. That could be a very big creature. We do not really want to fight that thing. Alright, I'm cool to crack this blood token just to hit them a little harder here. Hit them for 5 and then play another Socialite. Again, just making sure that the Weary Prisoner stays during the day. If somebody passes a turn without casting a spell, this will become a 6/6 attacker, which is pretty huge. Pretty spooky. Play the Socialite over the Gargantua here because a 5/4 just doesn't attack into a 2/6 defender. Now we're just trying to draw some of our removal to get that prisoner out of the way. Bloody Betrayal, sure. As long as they don't sacrifice it, that's fine with me. Take a good amount of damage here, though. Take 7. Alright, and pass the turn. Well, there's our red source for the Belligerent Guest. Attack both, play Belligerent Guest, feels like the play. Again, keep that prisoner from attacking us back. Don't know if I'm going to crack the blood token now, though. Just hit for 6, that's enough damage right now. And I could need to dig for some outs. Oh, that's kind of disgusting. Yeah, that's just kind of perfectly timed here. Betrayal into Witch's Web. Alright, well, that's horrific. I guess it's still a 1-for-1. They trade the web for a Socialite. But yeah, I mean, that's really good. Just play a 5/4 so I can block the wolf now, because Guest just trades into the wolf. Use the blood, discard the Guest, draw a card. Find something to kill the prisoner. Seems fine. Keep this Sporeback Wolf off of us now. Yikes. Flourishing Hunter to gain 6 life, and they've just got a solid 6/6 body out now. Yeah, we really need to find removal or bigger creatures than the Guest. Discard, draw a card. There's Grizzly Ritual, there we go. Blow up the 6/6. Trade Socialite into the wolf here. Probably not. I guess I could sack the blood now that I just got 2 more. Forgot about that effect. I should have attacked the Socialite there. Not gonna matter too much because they are at like 1,000 life. Undead Butler, sack it to Ghoul feels pretty good here. Yeah, make them get rid of the last card in their hand. We also get to dig for our Toxrill here. We get to dig Dug. Alright, so exile their final card in hand. It is another combat trick. Sure Strike. What is our best creature on this board state? I guess I could play Ragged Recluse. So I could play that this turn, and then I still have Blood Fountain in the future. That seems alright. They've already played a spell this turn, and I kind of want to keep playing spells. They might just pass turn next turn and flip both of these, which is pretty bad for me. And I want to play 2 spells next turn. Which is going to be kind of impossible to do with these 4-mana Socialites. I'm actually going to pick up Recluse and then just not play it so I could cast 2 spells next turn. You could flip these back to daytime if they just pass. Alright, and there we go. Bleed Dry into Recluse. We get to play 2 spells. I'm going to kill this werewolf, the 4/5 one that keeps making more insects. And I'll let them keep the defender one here. And so double spell to make the jailbreaker just a 2/6 defender again. And we're on blood fountain value. Alright, it's back to being a 6/6. Flip our recluse. Can double block a 6/6 decently with a 5/4 and a 3/3 after I flip recluse. Sure. Find an Archghoul of Thraben. Not the most excited about that. I'm probably just going to spend all my mana on Blood Fountain for double Socialite to try to close out the game with those. Yeah, let's just flip this. Double block Jailbreaker with 5/4, 3/3. They'll have to have top decked another combat trick. We've gotten rid of a Sure Strike and a Witch's Web. They are forced into the attack here, so... Fingers crossed, no combat trick off the top. Nope, just kill Gargantua, and now we are starting to get a firm lead on the board state here. Can't really overstate how good the Bleed Dry was as a draw earlier. That was just phenomenal. 6 mana, 7, I can play Archghoul and Socialite, that's probably the play. Send in the squad now. Alright, they're down to 8. We slam down Socialite plus Archghoul. And pass the turn. It's going to be daytime again, not that it super matters, but if they top deck any werewolves, they'll come as the daybound versions. Brambleworm's a pretty exceptional draw for them, gain a ton of life, and gain them 5 more life from the graveyard too. Got 6 toughness as well, so they can double block and kill one of our Socialites, but I still have another one coming up. And a Celebrants here. I think I just keep the pressure on. Kill this insect token so the rest of my squad can get in. Let them just kill a creature here. Yeah, they kill a Socialite, but they take 11. They go to 1. So Brambleworm doesn't die, they're actually just doomed because they can't gain an extra 5. And we've got 4 different creatures on board, 2 of which have Menace, which makes them hard to block. At least one creature is very likely to get in for the final bit of damage. Vampire's Vengeance, that's going to kill the Archghoul. That's it. To look at the top card of our library. Is Toxrill a zombie slug? It'd be pretty good if it was. If it's on top of our library. That is a swamp. We're just going to put it in the grave. They're really showing off how good blood tokens are here. We're at 15 cards left versus their 21, so we've just seen a lot more of our library. Go down to 7. Snarling Wolf is the play. I guess if there was a fling in this format where you could sack a creature to deal damage equal to its power to any target, I could have been dead to that. Maybe I should have went for the chump block. I feel like it was a lot more likely that they have some way to maybe stop these if I lost my Celebrants there. Right, because if I trade into that with Celebrants, they gain 5, they go to 6. And then they had 4 mana up afterwards, so if they had some kind of burn spell to kill the Menace creature, they'd still be alive. Try to recover from some good top decks from there or something. I don't know. Either way, really good stuff from our deck there. We got really lucky with the Bleed Dry hit. The Grizzly Ritual hit was pretty important as well, but the Bleed Dry hit, when we had picked up the 2 mana cards that I could double spell, was just phenomenal. To be able to exile the insect-producing werewolf and flip the defender back, that was just a really premium turn there. Tons of work done from our blood tokens and our blood fountain to make sure that we just overwhelm them with a lot more cards in the late game. So great stuff. We're now 2-0 heading into game 3. Here we are now in game 3. Kind of want to take a mulligan here. Like, technically I get a catapult fodder on board with another higher toughness creature, but we're not very proactive. It's not like I'm hitting them with these at all. We're just going to sit on our butt and wait for Grizzly Ritual to survive. Doesn't feel great. I'm going to mulligan this one. And looks a good bit better. We've got Recluse and Butler in the early game. 2 ways to make blood tokens for the Recluse. Those don't happen till later, but they'll look good. Yeah, and we have both our colors, obviously. I'll keep it. I think I get rid of the Grizzly Ritual for just being the most expensive card. I don't love this hand either, to be honest, but I don't think this one's worth a mulligan to 5. Let's start things off with Recluse, because we don't have any way to kill the Butler, so if I just mill 3 right now, they're just going to be gone forever for now. I'd rather be playing the creature that actually attacks pretty well. Ooh, Socialite? Alright, now the hand is shaping up. That is a win condition, as we've seen last game. It's definitely a big enough attacker to close out a game. Foreboding Statue also, I mean, this becomes a 5-5 eventually. Alright, we just drop the Socialite. Let's offer the trade with the Farmer, because this can turn into a 4-3 lifelinker as soon as one of their creatures dies. So, pretty fine with trading a 2-1 into that. So we will just get 2 damage in, and then we play the Socialite. Markov Purifier, so during their end step, if they gained life this turn, they can spend 2 mana and draw a card. So that could be a huge card draw engine. As soon as I hit another land, I'm going to lacerate the heck out of that. For now, am I discarding a card to draw a card? Discard a guest trying to hit a land drop here? Could see it, because I can still play Butler. I could even discard Butler and still play Guest, because I have Statue. I don't think I want to discard Blood Fountain. I'm going to discard the Guest here. I think I want to just hold blocks off, keep them from getting any card draw value. Wow, Harvester is phenomenal. It's not going to kill the Purifier until I get a second blood token on board, but I can do that with Blood Fountain. Yeah, I think I'd rather play Blood Fountain here and just have that out of the way. And now I can pass turn. We've got multiple 3/3s to block to try to keep them from gaining life and getting the card draw here. And if they don't kill Blood Tithe Harvester, we can sacrifice it to give Markov Purifier -4/-4. Aim for the head doesn't matter too much here. We've got plenty of value from Blood Fountain and the tokens. Obviously, it's annoying to have 2 cards in your hand and have your opponent make you discard both, but I'm pretty sure we're golden on board. We don't need anything else in our hand here to be in a good spot. So yeah, they've got a 4-3 lifelinker, but we have 3/3s to trade into it. The Statue is even going to be a 5-5 in our end step. Yep. And we've got a 5-5 blocker for their 4-3. We've of course got the Blood Fountain. We can pick up anything that they kill. Hit for a ton here. They do gain 4 life on the crackback, so if they have a removal spell for Statue, or if they have a good removal spell, that'll be bad. Do I want to just crack the Fountain while I have the mana to do it on these 2? Yeah, I'm not doing anything else with my mana this turn. I'm getting weaker cards here, but the Harvester is still pretty dang good, and I have a Celebrants for a strong follow-up creature when I hit 1 more mana still. Alright, so if they have a removal spell, they're in a pretty good spot. They kill the Thresher, attack and gain 4. Alright, it's main deck Sanctify. Well, screw me, I guess. Get got by the Naturalize. It gains them 3 life as well. Yeah, not a card that's particularly relevant particularly often, but definitely very good there. You probably need to hold the 3-power creature back, but we can just play another one here, so send in the squad. I'm not going to crack the blood now. I like to keep that. I want to keep at least like 1 blood token most of the time. And this way we have enough blood for the Harvester to trade into their Harvester if I need to. I think I'd rather play the Guest, though, to trade on blocks. Our opponent has hit their 4th land before us, and Estwald Shield Basher's the play. Not a very good blocker, but super solid attacker. Easy trade with Harvester. Get that life gain off of the board, that's a pretty big deal. Well, I'll draw another 4 or 5 mana card here. We're not going to be having a great time. I don't love Gargantua, because we don't have a lot of super expendable creatures, so I think discarding it to the blood's fine. And then Harvester still can give -2/-2, even if we only have 1 blood token, so it's still big enough to kill Shield Basher. I'm at 18 life, so I can just take the hits if they attack us with it. Let's try to hit a land. Hit another non-land card. Alright, Harvester it is. Attack with both of these. And I've still got Harvester to block if they don't give the Shield Basher indestructible. They go to 4 life if they don't just trade here. Yeah, so they're going to trade with Witch. Go down to 7. Feels pretty good. Scavenger's going to be really, really good if we hit a land. Because they have a Blood Fountain to recur something from grave, so being able to exile their best creature in grave and drain them for some life is going to be huge. Well, they're just going to scoop them up. They're over it. I guess they just know, like, we can hit them for 5 on board if they don't have another creature to play, and apparently they don't, so they know they're going down to 2. They're just over it. The plan here was hopefully we finally top deck land number 4, and then we hit for 5 by sacking the blood token, and then hit them for 2 more with Scavenger. Yeah, opponent is over it, and we're going to be 3-0 as we head into game 4. Alright, here we are in game number 4. We've got a Toxrill in the opening hand and plenty of blood tokens to use to discard some non-land cards, digging for lands. Try to just play a turn 7 Toxrill. Turn 1 Evolving Wilds for a mountain. Our opponent is on red-black, hopefully not a super aggressive red-black build, where we have a little bit of time to set up because I don't have a creature till turn 3, and they are on the play. Probably going to discard Lacerate Flesh to draw a card here. Already got Bleed Dry for excellent removal. And I want to be hitting my lands on curve, so I want to discard something non-land. Alright, Sanguine Statuette. When they discard a blood token, that turns into a 3/3 vampire. With haste, too, so it can hit us immediately. Hit for 5. Yeah, that's pretty aggressive. Not a fan of that. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just ditch the Lacerate, try to hit more lands. Alright, another 4-drop. Little iffy. Uh-oh, and a 6-drop. This could be bad. This hand was a 3-lander to start with. We've drawn an extra card off of a Blood to dig. Not much else I could do here if we miss another land drop next turn. If we hit the land drop, though, we play a creature that gives us another blood token, and we can use that to dig for more lands. Problem is, yeah, our opponent's on a really aggressive start, so missing even just one land drop here is going to be our death sentence. We might even die even without it, because they could just combat trick, kill the catapult fodder. Alright, we're definitely dead if we miss a land drop. Alright, well, what can you do? It was a very, very reasonable keep, because we had blood tokens and a 3-lander to start with. We just drew 0 lands again. The 17-land deck. We're probably dead. Yep, that's just dead this turn. Statuette gets active and they hit me for 9. They didn't ask me if I enjoyed that game. I was very ready to slam the frowny face as we move into game 5. Here we are in game 5 with an auto mole. 2 3-drops again. None of our 2-mana cards could be slow when our opponent's on the play. Hopefully they're not another aggro deck. Don't think I can mold a 5 Off this. Go to the 6-drop. And hope for the best here. Alright, we drew a 2-drop creature. That's a very good start. Twin Blade Geist to start it off. Alright, I can trade a Butler into that. We've drawn a land. Alright, we've already gotten miles farther than we did last game. We drew land 4, and then I milled 3 lands. So Butler's going to pick nothing up when it dies. And we're now a decent bit less likely to draw land number 5 for Falconwrath Celebrants. Wow, and our opponent's just going a bunch of 1-drops and 2-drops. Efficient, Pup, Geist. Well, if they don't get another Wolf or Werewolf on board, the Pup doesn't matter too much. Kind of like playing Guest here, because it's a decent attacker, and it doesn't look like I really need to block that much yet. Alright, this Guest can attack into that board state. Traveling Minister, just all 1s and 2-drops the deck. Well, we'll attack with Guest. It trades into 2 of their cards, or Twin Blade Geist, or a combat trick. That's all fine. Excellent draw for us, hitting the Socialite here. Trade into the Twin Blade Geist. They do get to put the ore on something else. Okay. Yeah, that combat trick wins combat on any block, so... Nice to trade off before our undead Butler dies, so whenever the Butler dies, we do actually get a creature back from grave. So we're very happy with a 1-for-1 trade of Witch's Web for Belligerent Guest. Geist up the... or Minister up the Geist. Trade Socialite into a combat trick here. A little less happy with that trade, but they're down to 2 cards in hand. We gotta get them out of the way at some point, or I'm just gonna be taking a million every turn. Yeah, get out of here, Adamant Will. Do not want to deal with taking 5,000 damage out of nowhere. Save the Scavenger to exile the Geist from their grave later. Play the Celebrants now. I guess they have Minister to buff the Geist, so if I play Celebrants, I can't block with Butler. I'd have to trade Celebrants into Geist, which is pretty horrible, so I think I actually just play Catapult fodder. I do play this 5th land, and I don't crack the blood yet. Wait till we hit a 6th land. I need the 5th land for Celebrants. Alright. Well, clearly their last card is another combat trick? No. Alright, they were just buffing the Geist and not attacking, so their last card is not another combat trick, or they would have sent in. Kill the fodder there. So now we can just play Falconwrath Celebrants and start attacking with that. Try to ride these blood tokens to victory. Making sure that we top deck better than our opponent. Although, yeah, 5th land is fine for our opponent. They can just start buffing up the efficient. Just 1/+1/+1 counter a turn, so it'll be quite some time before it matters a lot. Mildly tempted to just get another mountain off this, but with 3 blood tokens, I probably just need to be digging right now. Ooh, like that a lot. Don't know if I want to play it immediately, because we can play the Odious Witch this turn, since we discarded a card. Let's send in the Celebrants. See if they have any fancy tricks. They can block with a 2/3 and a 1/1 double strike. We'd kill both of them, but we'd lose Celebrants. Alright, we just hit for 4. Fair enough. I think I like getting another creature on the board. Let's get a 3/3 down. Over the point of discussion. Play a nice long game here. Alright, keep buffing the Unholy Efficient. Another land for us to cycle away. Ooh, we've got a Bleed Dry coming up. We do want to hit 7 lands eventually. Or if we ever draw into Toxrill. It's going to make it easier to play 2 spells in 1 turn as well to play some of these lands. I feel like I have enough action in my hand now I can play out this mountain. Yeah, Celebrants can still attack, trade into the Efficient, because it's just going to get way too big pretty soon. Might want to play Diregraph Scavenger just to have a death-touching blocker against that. Although I do have the Bleed Dry. And I can chump with the Undead Butler. Bring back a Blood-Crazed Socialite. Alright, they're just going to pass for now. Another Bleed Dry. Well, now we're super safe. Can really ruin a double block with a Bleed Dry, so I don't want to do it till post-combat. Yep. The only unfortunate thing about this is I don't have a million mana, so I can't play the Scavenger and exile the Double Strike from their grave. But they don't really have anything good to put it on yet anyway. So they probably won't, and then we can just exile it next turn. Whenever a human you control dies, draw a card. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, you gain 2 life. So they draw a card when Minister dies, they gain some life when the Efficient dies. That doesn't matter too much. We will exile their Twin Blade Thingy Madooter. And now I get to start hitting them with like everything. I guess these creatures are just 1 toughness. Oh, I've got 3 chunky creatures out now. Somehow. Yeah, 1/2 that and the Scavenger. Alright. That's nice. Catapult Captain is flipped. We can start throwing our big booty creatures at our opponent. Yeah, I'll play the land. I'll play land number 7, but I'll cycle away everything after that. Perish Blade Trainee. Not matter too much. They're gaining enough life. They're not going to die in 1 turn unless I go really wild with the Catapult Captain, but that seems a little risky. I don't think we need to do that. Close out this game a little slower. I really don't like Archghoul very much here. Cycle that as well, but keep the 4 mana up for Bleed Dry now. There's Toxrill. Will we cast a single Toxrill today? That is the question. Take 6 on board. If we sack the Witch, they take 9. I'm just gonna go for it. Alright. We will not cast the Toxrill. We are now 4-1 as we head into game number 6. Alright, here we are on the play for game number 6. We've got Harvester on 2. We get a blood token from it we can use to discard probably Gargantua to try to hit more lands. Again, because Toxrill, even though it's 7 mana, is so strong that I highly doubt that we want to discard the Toxrill to the blood. Obviously, another game that could go pretty badly if we don't hit lands, but we have multiple potential blood token producers again. The Harvester being the first one, discarding Gargantua, drawing a card, and if we can make it to 4 mana, get another blood token from Socialite. We've already made it to 3. We have top-decked Mountain, which is nice. Definitely prefer to hit a Swamp pretty soon. We do have 3 double black cards in the hand. But any land is super fine by me until we hit 4 mana for Socialite. Their opponent has started off with a 1/1 Vigilance all-in-block Escort. They can sack to give something indestructible, which is kind of cool. Alright, now I can discard Grisly Ritual over Gargantua. I'll just attack with the Harvester. If it trades into a combat trick, it trades into a combat trick. Alright, removal spell too, that's fine. Okay. I could still discard Gargantua. Right, because I'll still have Socialite into Bleed Dry, and then if I make it to 6, Grizzly Ritual kind of can guarantee the 7 for Toxrill. I might still hit Gargantua. This could be wrong. I'm going to do it. Okay, well, hit a Mind Leech Ghoul. Hit a 2-drop to play, even if it isn't a land. Not horrible. We're 11 cards deep now, trying to find the 4th land. I guess technically the 5th land, because Evolving Wilds. But there's still 13 lands out of these 29. A little less than 50-50 right now. Alright, so fail the first coin flip, move on to the next turn. Got some time, our opponent's on 2 mana as well. I'll take the trade for infantry if they offer it. Ooh, they probably won't because now they want to set up some +1/+1 counters on this thing. That'd be bad for me. Yeah, I doubt they attack with infantry this turn. They're going to try to attack with all next turn to buff the trainee. Oh, maybe they will. No. They're still deciding. Okay, we do hit the 4th land now, which is phenomenal. I don't want to play Scavenger till that thing's engraved. I think I'm just going to get a blood token out with the Socialite. Still pretty much just playing on blocks here. If they attack with both, we put Ghoul on infantry and Socialite on trainee. Resistance Squad, very good card. A 3/2 and they draw a card when it hits the board. Okay. Probably discard one of these Grizzly Rituals trying to draw a card, but then I'm not holding up one of my 4 mana plays, which feels bad. I guess I'm not playing Scavenger this turn, and I also don't really want to Bleed Dry something immediately, so sure, we'll do it right now. If I hit the land, I can still hold up Bleed Dry. We do not, but we hit another Socialite, which gives us another blood token, which is good. Right, they have found they kept a 2-lander mono-colored in their 2-color deck. They have drawn out of it now, though. They are on black-white. Griff Wing Cavalry. Actually pretty spooky on this board state. Usually pretty inefficient. But we might have to bleed that. We have decent blockers on the ground, but nothing in the sky. Ooh, Foreboding Statue is mana, but if I play it, I'm not playing Bleed Dry this turn. It's a 1/2 body, so it's not really going to block at all. I think I need to just shoot the cavalry. Do it while they're tapped out. I don't think there's anything in this format that can get around Bleed Dry in black-white. There is in like blue, they can be of hexproof. But Indestructible does not stop -X/-X. That's the one trick I can think of in the format. That they could give it Indestructible. There's one where when it dies it comes back to the battlefield, but Bleed Dry exiles, so it wouldn't technically die. It couldn't come back from exile. Beguiler could be a problem too, tapping down a creature each turn. But yeah, here we go. There's a land, and now here's Foreboding Statue. We're at 6 out of 7 mana thanks to that. Top deck a land, we just slam down a Toxrill and go from there. If I don't top deck a land, I can still cast pretty much anything else in the hand. So they are going to tap down Socialite. So we don't have a good blocker for a 3 toughness attacker. So they could send in like the trainee and an infantry. Trade off the infantry, but the trainee is a 2/3 that gets in well. Distracting Geist, that taps a creature every time it attacks. That could be pretty big. It's only 1 toughness though, so whenever we play Toxrill, it will die as soon as we go to our end step. Oh, they're going to send in resistance squad and trainee. They're not sending in the infantry. Interesting. Thought they would just want infantry and grave over attacking with resistance squad here. But maybe they're playing around diagraph scavenger. Because the infantry trainee attack would have worked a lot better for me, but it's also just a lot better for them on board too. Alright, let's see if they have removal. Here's Toxrill. You do what you do. You play the Toxrill. And you cross your fingers. The first time we have resolved a Toxrill here, and no matter what, it's going to kill one of their creatures, which is nice. No 1-mana removal to kill this thing at instant speed. So we at least get to go to the end step, kill the Distracting Geist. And get a slug. Oh wait, they had another 1 toughness creature? Oh yeah, the 1/1. Alright, kill 2 of their creatures, get 2 slugs. Even if they bleed dry the Toxrill now, it's done some great work. The rest of their board will get rebuffed though, if they kill it. They'll go back to having a 2/5, a 2/2, and a 2/3. Those creatures only get -1/-1 as long as Toxrill is on the board. So our opponent just immediately spams through the turn. Toxrill's going to put another slime counter down. They're going to tap down Toxrill, but it's going to kill another one of their creatures. It's going to kill yet another one of their creatures. Yeah, they're just going to scoop them up. Toxrill is an absurd bomb. If you don't kill it, it just completely kills you super fast, and they did not have removal in hand, so pretty devastating game for our opponent. That's just kind of what Toxrill does. So Toxrill is going to carry us all the way to a 5th victory now. We are 5-1. Luckily, we got 4 wins without Toxrill, so we can say that we drafted a pretty solid deck, because we aren't winning exclusively off bombs. Our 1 bomb is Toxrill, and we've only won 1 game off of it, so very big fan of this deck, as we are 5-1, moving into game number 7. Here we are in game 7. We are on the draw again. We've got a turn 2 Ghoul and some late game removal. Good card draw. We'll keep the hand. Opponent is on blue and black. Play a Doomed Dissenter turn 2. Here's our 2-mana 2/2 Mind Leech Ghoul. Probably have to point a discussion next turn because we've got nothing else to do. Hopefully it doesn't punish us too hard. I hate that combo. Dissenter into Desperate Farmer. Next turn they're just going to play an Exploit card because they're on blue-black. That's going to be pretty nasty, but then we can bleed dry the Desperate Farmer next turn. But we are under quite a bit of life total pressure. I'm shooting myself in the face here as well. Alright, 4 mana for our opponent now. They do have the Mind Leech Ghoul, sack the Dissenter, flip the Desperate Farmer, make us exile a card from hand. Just a horrific turn for us. I don't think Gargantua looks very good in this matchup. Very, very beat down hand on the play from our opponent. We are going to have to do a lot of work to stabilize. What on earth do they want to do for 2 mana here? Nothing. So they have some kind of instant for 2 or less mana. Probably a combat trick or something. It wouldn't be waiting for them if it was a counterspell. If they have a counterspell, they have a counterspell and another instant. Probably Undying Malice or something to bring it back from grave when it dies. I think I just need to kill this Harvester, because if I play a Socialite and gets killed by a removal spell, I'm just going to die. I need to just bleed dry this and hope they don't have a Syncopate in hand. We know one of these 3 cards is not a counterspell, so there's only 2 cards that might be a counterspell. Do it before they draw another card. All right. Take the trade here, because if they have Undying Malice, they can't use it. Serpentine Ambush is the trick. Alright. A 3-3 or a 3-2? Probably play a 3-3 just because they need to do something on board to get through it. They have to removal spell it or play another combat trick, whereas with the Harvester they could just trade. Got a little bit of breathing room here. We're at 11 and we have a removal spell in hand. Chill the Grave is incredible here. Lock our creature down for 2 turns and draw a card. Catapult Fodder does nothing right now, it's just a 1/5. Only have 1 creature in my grave. I think I just need to play double creature to have more blockers. Harvester is more important. Play my land here, play around Syncopate. Have the 1 mana up. And we need the 6th land for Grisly Ritual eventually anyway. Need to take every trade we can get. We're down to 7. Send in just a Catapult Fodder. Okay, no, send in everybody. Alright, take the trades. Take 1, we're down to 6, but now we have a 3-3 to block the 1/5. Skywarp Scab is a pretty big flyer, we'll have to Grisly Ritual that. I guess it's only 2 power, but still. They do draw a card when they play it as well, which is bad. Keep this Evolving Wilds in hand with all these blood tokens, I think. Actually, I might want to play it so that next turn I can Blood Fountain and have 4 mana up if I draw another land. I can at least Blood Fountain and have 3 up. And I do need 7 mana if I hit Toxrill. Yeah, I think I'm actually going to play Evolving Wilds. Next turn, Blood Fountain. Play a 3-drop. And if I top deck a land, I Blood Fountain and play 2 2-drops. We can get the late game value here. The problem is we're just under pressure being on the draw against an opponent with an aggro start on the play, where we might take too much damage, or might have taken too much damage. Yeah, pick up the Harvester and the Ghoul here. Play both. Need to make sure I have double black up. All blockers all day, let's go. They've got an instant of some kind. Probably another combat trick looking thing. Could be a Bleed Dry for a removal spell. Definitely not a counter spell, it wouldn't have held. Good old Snitching Arena, back at it again. Letting us know they've got some kind of instant, unless they're just playing in full control mode. I used to have a lot of qualms with that, because I hate that aspect of Arena that's so different from paper Magic that you can just kind of be like, oh, our opponent has something instant speed. But I've just gotten to the point where it's like, well, it tells my opponent when I have something instant speed, so might as well use the information that my opponent's getting as well. Catapult Fodder's fine, but I have 7 blood tokens, so I can dig really far. I think I would rather just do that. I could Harvester the Farmer and then just start attacking with my Menace creature each turn, but at 6 life, I think I'm going to just play it really safe here. And just like dig for Toxrill when I have 7 pieces of card draw. Or dig for like instant speed removal to know that it's a really safe attack. If I find Toxrill when I don't have 7 mana up and then they Mind Leech Ghoul me, that will be the saddest outcome possible. Odious Witch is pretty good. A 3/3 that drains for life every time it attacks. Yeah, I'll play that here. I'll have 3 blockers up. I think I will attack with Socialite now. I think I want to keep all this blood though. If they double block, they can trade Farmer for Socialite, which I'm fine with. Alright, let's see what their combat trick nonsense is. Nothing yet. Okay, here's Ragged Recluse. For an Odious Witch. They have a Syncopate and another instant in their hand? Well, that's annoying. Statue's just more mana that I don't need right now. I think I need to trade Harvester for Socialite. Kinda do need another blocker. Statue's probably worth just playing as a blocker. It's a Cradle of Safety. That is horrific for me. Oh my god. That literally couldn't have been... there's no other spell that would have been worse for me than that. Like Undying Malice and all that would be fine. Well, pretty good cards to have at hand there. Now I have to double block to not die, or I could have just digged really desperately with the tokens there. They still drew gas? Yep, more gas. These kind of games are always the worst, where you have like 50,000 blood tokens, but your opponent just still draws better. Where it's like, I'm putting in so much work to draw just anything. But opponent is just like, oh yeah, this is perfect. Each turn. I just have to find an answer to Socialite or I'm dead. Oh, not dead if they don't hit a blood token card off the top, but at this rate they've played so far, it feels likely. I mean, if I just cycle... Problem is, if I cycle Socialite into like finding Toxrill or something, I can't play Toxrill. I don't have 7 mana up, so I just die. So I think I need to play Socialite so I can block these two. Take 4 from Socialite, go to like 1 life, and then... No, I just die. I'm just dead no matter what. This Cradle of Safety was just insane. Not blocking Butler because I'm going to give them something with a blood token from their grave. And yeah, they just top deck Stitched Assistant to sack their creature, get the best card back from their grave, and scry 1 draw a card. Wow. And they hit removal. No lands drawn. I gain 2 life and just die? Well, this game was absurd. So, obviously the turning point was Blood Tithe Harvester when they had the Cradle in hand. If I could figure out that that was the exact card in your hand, I could have, in their hand, I could have played a little better and gotten more time, but our draws were not matching up into a winning position, regardless. But yeah, should have figured out their card was Cradle. About all I could have done, though. They were on the play with a good aggressive start. We were miles behind from the get-go. We fought really hard and had tons of ways to dig through our deck and draw better, and just still drew worse than them just drawing naturally. A lot of cantrips in their deck and stuff. Yeah, 3 life, nothing to do with Socialite. There's nothing in my deck that survives, because even if I hit Toxrill or something, or a removal spell for Socialite, I'd die to the other creatures. Yeah. Sometimes you just draw worse. We are 5-2, heading into game number 8. Again, we were already at a really low chance of winning from the get-go there with their aggressive start on the play, but losing the top deck war that badly when I have a mountain of blood tokens is super frustrating. Here we are in game 8. Very good start. Probably the best start we've had so far. Blood Tithe Harvester into Belligerent Guest. Go from there. Opponent's on the play again, though, with turn 2 Ragged Recluse. So on the play with an aggressive start. Love trading here, but again, my deck is really powerful in the long game. I should play out for it. But no, I'm playing a 3-power creature into a 3-power creature into a Bleed Dry. We probably do play aggressively with a hand like this. Alright, they're just gonna bolt the Harvester anyway, sure. Alright, no follow-up creature, that's good for us. Play the Guest. Ready to start attacking with that and getting some blood tokens. Pointed Discussion from our opponent. Draw 2 cards, get a blood token. If they play a land, sack the blood. They'll flip the Recluse in the end step. Which might be a big enough deal to trade here, because it's going to be a 3-3 that drains me for life, and then I'll have to Bleed Dry, and I'd rather trade Guest than Bleed Dry into it. Yeah, we'll do the trade. Alright, there's my own Recluse. I think I'm just going to play Catapult Fodder Evolving Wilds here. Save the Recluse for later. Grab another Swamp. Diagraph Scavenger is going to exile our Guest from grave and gain them some life. Yeah, we need to flip a 3-3 to have something that can attack and block the Scavenger. I'll discard the Mountain here, because I only need 1 red source in this deck. Get a Mind Leech Ghoul so I can drop another Dork. Sure. I could sack it here because the 2/2's not really doing anything against Scavenger, just to get rid of a card in their hand. Yeah, their hand is probably mostly gas. This probably trades up into something. Yeah, trades up into a Bloodcrazed Socialite. Very, very good hit from Mind Leech Ghoul. Trade my 2-mana 2/2 into the 4-mana 3/3 Menace that can hit even harder. Here's another Ragged Recluse from our opponent. We could trade those off. Trade the Odious Witches. Ooh, Undead Butler. That can put a Dissenter, a Recluse, or a Courier Bat in their hand. They're all fine. Ooh, we hit Toxroll. Now I just want to draw into playing that. Yeah, there's land 6 and 7. We play 1 here and then play Toxroll next turn. Alright. That is the goal. Lacerate Flesh, the Odious Witch, sure. Now they've got pretty decent attacks. But then we play a Toxroll, mitigate the board. Go down to 10. Yeah, at 10 life, a Toxroll is a super safe play. They're gonna hit us for like 4 or something if they don't immediately kill Toxroll. If the last card in their hand is not Bleed Dry, we probably win. Send in the squad. Anything that gives Death Touch? I mean, I guess even if there is, then we can block the Butler. Since it has 0 power. Alright, cycle the blood token away. Get a slug. They return something with the Undead Butler to their hand. Grab a Courier Bat. They did gain a life, so they can play the Courier Bat and put another creature in their hand. I think the Odious Witch will die in the end step here, because it still has damage on it and then gets another counter. Yep. So we get another Slug. Can play Statue and still hold up double. We'll still hold up one of the 2 Bleed Dries. Pass the turn, the Scavenger dies, we get another Slug. And Toxrill is just going to get us the free win this game. Feels pretty good after last round. I'll take it. We're definitely the monsters this game. We're using just like one of the biggest mythic rare bombs in the whole format, but it is what it is. We got it, we put it in the deck, we're gonna play it. We are now 6-2 as we head into the final boss, win or lose. Final game of Magic for the day. Alright, here we are in the final game. We're on the play, but we have no creatures in the hand. We can Bleed Dry on 4 at least. No creatures in the hand is such a risk, but we dig and we have blood tokens and we have great removal. I'm going to keep the hand that I almost definitely shouldn't. And hope for the best. And we're on the play, so they can't like early aggro us on the play. Right, because we are playing our cards first. They can't go 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop before we have 2, 3, 4 mana. So even if they are real aggro here, we get some time to draw into creatures or just have Bleed Dry up. Alright, 2 mana, Reclusive Taxidermist. That is fine. That's going to ramp them into some bigger plays. Now I could play Harvester into Socialite and then Point of Discussion when I'm out of creatures to play. That feels pretty good. Because I still already have my land drop for next turn. I don't need to play Point of Discussion until I'm on a turn where I'm missing a land drop. Four mana card here. Nope, just a Pack Song Pup. That's a pretty good card though. It keeps getting bigger as the game progresses. If they have another wolf or werewolf on their board. I guess they don't right now, so it doesn't do anything yet. Just save the Bleed Dry for it. Send in Harvester, trade into a combat trick, or I can Bleed Dry if it's a particularly good combat trick. Alright, well, we can't do anything about Piercing Light, but that's fine. Just get that out of the way. Drop a Socialite. Could have traded Harvester for the Taxidermist there, or could have tried to. If they had any combat trick, though, they could save it. Imprisonment on Socialite, that's pretty annoying. They're only hitting us for 2 a turn right now. I think I can just shoot myself in the face. Draw more cards. Yeah, now we just have a mountain of removal to use. Slowly but surely. Flourishing Hunter, gigantic wolf that does buff the pup at least once, but then we can Grizzly Ritual that, and then Bleed Dry or Lacerate Flesh the pup later. Try to control things from here. I'll let my opponent gain a little bit of life here. We'll save the Bleed Dries for better creatures. Even more blood tokens here. I think I will start filtering lands out at this point. Don't need the 7th mana unless I hit Toxrill. This feels like a great position, but we saw what happened for our second loss. We were in kind of this exact position and our opponent just kind of still drew more gas than us. Bloodcrazed Socialite's a great start, though. can turn into a 4/4 if they get another creature engraved, so they could like blood token instant speed. Oh, they need 4 creatures engraved, though. They only have 2. Okay. Yeah, we're safe to play Socialite here. Could cycle out the statue to some blood token again, digging for Toxtrol mainly. I don't think it's worth it, though. I like playing the statue here. And a catapult fodder? Okay. Start using all the blood to just beat them for 5 a turn. We do have a much higher life total. We have a lot more breathing room than we had last time we got into a position like this. Yeah, now that I have a catapult fodder, I do want to just leave statues, so we have 2 creatures with higher toughness than power. I just need to draw 1 more. Like my Diregraph Scavenger. Oh, but they Valor Stance the catapult fodder. That's okay. Statue will still turn into a 5/5 eventually, which is nice. And it's the 7th mana. Never mind. Sawblade Slinger are going to be incredible here. They're going to kill Blood Fountain over Foreboding Statue. Interesting. I don't think I've had anything great in my grave for it, but it is a 2-for-1. Yeah, I'll play a 5/4. Just as a 5/4. Keep sending in the Socialite. Valor Stance. Okay, you got it. So I have to trade Socialite and a Slinger unless I want to take 4 here. Go to 7. Can go to 7. Still need like a massive combat trick to kill me. They're dead in 3 more hits from the Blood Crazed Socialite, so I really don't want to have to trade Socialite off. Well. Tap down our blocker here. Hit for 6. They kill us in 2 attacks now. Now I kind of need to be open to trading Socialite off, and again, our opponent is like not cracking any blood tokens, but drawing straight gas. They just stop drawing lands after land 5, hit removal spell, combat trick. Yeah, I think I have to just start passing now that we're down to 5 from that. At least holding up the bleed dry mana, that part is guaranteed. Alright, they are going to crack their blood token. Please be out of stuff. I would appreciate it. See if this works. Awesome. I can start attacking with the Socialite now. They are not out of stuff. They have a large Millipede. Probably a 5/5 here. On average, 6/6. Okay, and that makes Taxidermist bigger too. God dang it. Guess it's not that great on this board state. I'll cycle it away. Archghoul also not great. I just cycle it into a land here, that's pretty bad. I need 4 mana for the bleed dry. I'll just keep that for now. Yeah, this sucks. Oh my god. Yeah, I have to double block to kill Taxidermist now. Bleed dry Millipede. Block Taxidermist with a 5/5 and a 3/3 or a 5/5 and a 3/2. All right. Got the board state for blocks. Yeah, how wouldn't they have the combat trick here? Surveil one with Arch Ghoul. That is a zombie. If I reveal it, it goes in my hand, right? Yeah, I just straight up drew a card there. That's nice. Okay, another creature from our opponent. It's not too big. There's Toxrill that I can't afford because I have a tap land in hand. And if I sack a blood, I can't afford it either, so I need to play Mind Leech Ghoul and just chump. Their last card in hand is going to just demolish me somehow. Oh, they have to tap Taxidermist for that, but I look like an absolute buffoon with all these blood tokens these last couple games. Clearly blood tokens are unnecessary for repeatedly just drawing gas. Toxrill. Give me a free win, please. Please. Are you serious? Well, thanks Magic Arena, very cool. 6 and 3 it is. Celebrants doesn't save us because we died a wolf. And now if I use this blood, I don't have the mana for Celebrants. I can't believe our opponent just retributions our creature and then just top decks Retribution for Toxrill. Well, what did we learn today? Bad beats certainly exist. Blood tokens are completely useless. You should just draw naturally and you'll draw better. Loss number 2 and 3 were both games that I think, statistically speaking, should have gone in our favor in terms of quality of late game draws. Yeah, not much you could say there. We still got a 6 and 3, but losing those last 2 games is incredibly frustrating. Loss number 2 and loss number 3. I think just should have been victories for us. Could have definitely played better. Probably in the last game, but definitely in loss number 2. There was like a Syncopate I could have played around a little more, but then one of my better spells would have gotten countered, right? Because like we got a 2 mana or 3 mana spell countered by a Syncopate because I spent a bunch of mana on blood before it. But like the alternative to that is then I end up playing a 4 or 5 mana spell later and that gets countered. So I don't think the whole playing around the Syncopate was a misplay, but I could have tried to figure out that they had the Cradle in hand. If I played around Cradle and just held off on blocks instead of trying to target things with Harvester, the game could have gone a bit differently. And then that last game, it's definitely less clear stuff, but there was probably some slightly better lines. Would have given us a little bit of a bigger chance, but our draws versus theirs, quite different on the scale of like really good draws to pretty mediocre draws. Our opponents just top deck naturally a lot better than we did, digging very far with blood tokens. There's not much we could do about that, even if we played those perfectly. So again, some things we could have learned, some things we could have played around better, keeping Cradle of Safety in mind for sure. But overall, just some bad beats today. Certainly happens. Part of Magic. I think this deck easily could have 7-winned, and either of our 2 losses should have easily been a win, but it's not going to happen every time. We'll take a 6-3. Not a horrible run, pretty great run for most decks, but I think this deck was a deck that 7 wins more often than not. But we'll take a 6-3 and run with it. We still get to leave with more gems than we spent on the event. So nice to go up in value today. But that is going to end today's video. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It will let the YouTube algorithm know to send you some more of these videos in your recommended feeds. If you'd like to hang out with me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. Other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.